Thanks so much for John and many partnership projects to invite me here to this MoveCon. Actually, this is my second MoveCon, and then so exciting to be here. So basically, this panel is talking about DeFi on Move, and I will introduce myself first, and then introduce several of our friendship projects and for MoveCon. And first, I'm Kris Lai. I'm the founder of Scallop, and I'm also the moderator of this panel. And my background, I was a tech developer and then become a cybersecurity engineer, and then started diving into crypto since 2017 and building DeFi since 2021. Yeah. And right now I'm building Scallop. Scallop is an over-collection lending and borrowing protocol for the Sui ecosystem. And I will introduce more about Scallop later on today. For this panel, we have Kris Lai, co-founder of Scallop, and we have Ted. Hello, Ted.
Hey.
Yeah, Ted from Typus Finance, and we have Tommy, the founder of Typus Finance.
Hello guys.
Yeah, and Elliscope from co-founder of Navi Protocol.
Hey guys, very nice to meet you. Yeah.
And David, head of marketing from MoveEx.
Hi everybody.
Yeah, I already introduced myself, so let's let Ted from Typus Finance to introduce about himself, and then maybe some brief intro about Typus Finance as well. Ted, can you?
Absolutely. This is my first MoveCon. Very happy to join this event. This is really a festival for all Move developers. So I'm Ted, co-founder of Typus Finance. My background is crypto, DeFi, data researcher. And Typus is a decentralized exchange where we enable users to trade and earn easily and safely. And we're backed by Jump Crypto and Mr. Labs. So very happy to be here.
Cool. Yeah. Glad to see Ted again. This week we've seen each other in the Sweet Build House. So Tommy, can you introduce yourself and Typus Finance?
Sure. Hello. So I'm Tommy. I'm the founder of Typus. I have joined the crypto space since 2018 into family office and started doing some portfolio management and build a project called Optify on Solana before and pivot to Sui as Typus. So Typus is a real yield infrastructure. We focus on our first product is an auction boat, and we make variety usage of this boat, such as we can sell cover call, new projects, launching token, we can do NFT. And this auction will be a risk management primitives in the center of DeFi space, helping other DeFi protocol transfer their risk. And it's basically a risk trading marketplace. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Tommy. And yeah, I'm lucky to already try the Typus Finance on the DevNet, and it's pretty smooth. And next one, we have Elliscope, co-founder of Navi Protocols. Elliscope, can you introduce yourself and Navi Protocols for audience?
Yep. Hi everyone. Very nice to meet you. My name is Elliscope. I'm the co-founder of Navi Protocol. Navi is a lending or borrowing platform on the Sui ecosystem. Right before Navi, I was actually mostly building DeFi protocol on the BNB chains and have gained lots of traction, lots of experience over there. Really excited for the Move language and the Sui network launch. So want to bring the past experience, bring Navi to people as a foundational piece structure to the ecosystem. So we also got back by these Labs. Very excited to be here. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thanks for a short intro about yourself and Navi Protocol. And very exciting to have another lending and borrowing can onboard more on-chain liquidity for the Sui ecosystem. And next one, we have David, head of marketing for MoveEx. David, can you introduce yourself and MoveEx?
Yeah, so my name is David. Nice to meet everybody. This is my first MoveCon. Kind of exciting to be here. A little nervous because I'm not a developer. I'm a marketer. So I come from a Web 2 background, and like everybody here, jumped into crypto around 2017, 2018, and found myself working for MoveEx. So we are a DEX on Sui, and what we're focused on is providing the best trading and liquidity provision experience for both users and project developers through our concentrated liquidity AMM and stablecoin AMM. So happy to be here.
Yes, thanks. And let's have some basic question for starting this panel. And this basic question, it should be, why you decide to build on Sui, and what's the unique part of a DeFi on Sui? So I think maybe I can be the first one to answer this question, and then I will use the same order to just pass the mic to you guys. Yeah. So why did we or a Scallop team decide to build on Sui? Previously, our team have some Solana development background. We built a DeFi protocols on Solana before, and we decided to pivot things less culture street, and then we found out that Sui is a huge potential new layer 1 blockchain, have a very interesting on-chain data strategy and good BFT solution algorithm. And then Move is just previously we built on Rust, and Move is a framework of Rust, and our team just think it's very interesting and super safe. And then we also found out that if we decide to build on Sui that time, we will be a like early stage front runner, and then there's even have no offline events like some builder house. That's why we met these partners in this stage. But that time is a super early stage, and then we can be the front runner of the DeFi protocol in this track. So that's why we decided to build on Sui, and just the story about why we choose Sui. Yeah, and then I will pass the mic to Ted again. We use the staying order to answer this question, and to be kind to mention to remind the question again is why you decide to build on Sui, and what's the unique point of DeFi on Sui, and you can answer it based on how you guys are building.
Yeah, totally happy to address that. Right. So our moves on Sui Move, asset is a first-class citizen. So what that means is if you have a smart contract, usually on EVM chains, your asset is just a numerical number that lives within that smart contract. But on Sui Move, things are completely different. Digital assets are objects, right? So they don't live under a smart contract. What that means is if a smart contract is, compromised, say hacked, the assets in that, even if it's locked in that smart contract, the ownership does not change. Meaning the hackers cannot touch really those objects. That adds a lot of security into the financial system. In DeFi, financial system on-chain, security is the backbone of the system. So that the universal notion of digital asset ownership on Sui Move is really attractive. That overcomes a lot of counterintuitive, facts on the EVM ecosystem. And then not to mention, when you do programming on Sui Move, you have to pass some kind of checks before you even execute any programs to avoid some common bugs and things. And another thing that's really attractive is on other chains, whenever there's a popular NFT mint, like say 10,000, 100,000 transactions suddenly jam the whole network. And that would completely collapse the DeFi system on that. But due to the unique consensus mechanisms on Sui, that thing never happens. Like NFT mints that touches simple objects and more complicated DeFi activities, shared object, they use different network resources. And that is really helpful for establishing a solid and stable DeFi service. And we can see a lot of developers coming into the Move ecosystem, and I expect actually more will become a bigger and bigger family over the years. So that's my 2 cents here.
Okay, thanks, Ted. Yes, this is impressive to answer. And yeah, let's move forward to Tommy. Yeah, can you answer this question as well? And by the way, the question is why you decide to build on Sui, and what's your unique point of DeFi on Sui? Yeah.
So we did some research about Sui's consensus, and we really liked the way they tackle the problem. So Sui can separate independent transaction and those transaction that needs to go to consensus. So to add on what Ted just mentioned earlier, that can relieve the consensus resources from validator and provide a more stable environment for DeFi to actually work. So the stability for this kind of consensus put DeFi on Sui, a more reliable environment. And I think that's critical. And another reason is the scalability and performance of Sui ecosystem. So they have the storage fund designed for onboarding future validators. Because for every new validator running a node, they need to sync all the data, and that's actually quite costly. So they designed this tokenomics to have a portion of the transaction fee storage into this fund. So for every future validator trying to be a foot node, they got incentivized. So that's the basic foundation for horizontal scalability. But I think scalability, performance, and what Kat mentioned earlier, the security layer of Move, that actually is providing the best environment for DeFi. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. And next one, we're going to invite Elliscope, co-founder of Navi Protocol, to share his thought about why did you guys build on Sui and what's the unique point of Sui on DeFi.
Thank you, Chris, for the intro. So, since Ted and Tommy has been really focused on technical side, I will just be focusing on like the experience side. So, like the memory I had while I was using, wallet, any kind of transaction on the EVN chain, especially BNB chains, and even some layer 2, for example, the Arbitrum or the GMX. People say the GMX experience was smooth, but if you actually look at the transaction time it took for you to submit a transaction, it still takes 2 seconds and a half, 2.5 seconds. So that is unbearable within the traditional, especially TradFi space. So, and within Move, this new language ecosystem, and the reason why it was named that Move, the efficiency with TTS, was able to handle the next scale infrastructure serving, if not millions, but billions of users. So that's why I'm very passionate about this new tech. Even though this space is very new and developers are very, minimal. Sorry, apologize, for my background and everything, because I'm a consensus right now, preaching people about the development of the Sui network. So yeah, I'm very passionate about it. I think it's a brand new space that's going to be having a lot of potential and bring a lot of people.
Yeah, thank Elliscope for sharing your experience about this ecosystem, and then hope you can introduce more people to onboard building on Sui and the consensus, during the consensus. Yeah. And the next one will be David, head of marketing from MoveEx. And I think for David, they are building a MoveEx and a deep book. They're building some important infrastructure for Sui. So we'd also like to hear their opinion about why you guys decide to build on Sui and what's the unique point of DeFi on Sui. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what really inspired us to build on Sui is that, the mission of the majority of people working in Web3 is really to facilitate mass adoption, by bringing the next billion users to Web3 in the next market cycle or in this market cycle. And we were looking at that. One of the things that came up was there's a key missing piece of infrastructure in a lot of the other chains to allow for that next billion users. I think, as Elliscope mentioned, the transaction time is really slow in a lot of chains. That doesn't really allow you to have that many users on at once and that many transactions. So when we were looking at Sui, we chose to build because we believe, Sui is here to fill in that missing piece, with the consensus algorithm that Ted and Tommy mentioned and the highly parallel execution engine, that serves as the perfect infrastructure to provide that scalability that we believe we're going to need to onboard that many people. Also, the Move VM solves a lot of the security problems, like Ted and Tommy said, which is a huge deal. And we see, those security problems crop up in a lot of the dApps on other platforms like Ethereum. So we chose to build in the Move ecosystem as we saw a solution to what many of us believe is a major hurdle in bringing about that mass adoption.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, David. And then, looking forward to see how just you guys integration with other project in the near future. And then let's move forward to another question. And then the second question of this panel, it will be more a bit deeper, is what are your projects currently building for Sui, and what are the next steps in Q2 and maybe even upcoming Q3, the plans of your project. Yeah. And about what Scallop currently building for Sui is, like I mentioned, we are building an over collateral lending environment for Sui. And we already know this limit. Several teams also have list and strategies building these products for Sui. And why you should choose Scallop is we are a professional trader enabling protocol. We have a full feature SDK powered by Sui programming transaction. And when you risk only few lines, you can implement a customized trades, like even a zero interest and zero fee flash loan. Yeah. And we using the industry leading model. We organize the liquidation and risk control upon compound V3 model. And all like other lending and borrowing on Aptos and Sui, they are still using compound V2 model. And the difference, including we have a collateral ways and insurance bond and protect collateral bond and borrowing outflow limits, and we are using top Oracle. And we are a team that thinks security is first. For security, we have the best practice and auditors, and the whole protocol is designed with zero trust. Yeah. And about the quarter 2, yeah, we already launched our DevNet, I think just this several days. Although we didn't like publish like very loudly, because I think the most important is still be the mainnet. But we already online on DevNet, and we are going to online on mainnet, I guess, yeah, on day 1 of the Tsunami mainnet launch. And about next quarter, we are going to onboard our swap UI and bridge for users to onboard more liquidity for the Chen liquidity. And then we will also support isolated pools and missing access pools in the next quarter. Yeah. So let's use the same order, and I'm going to pass the microphone to Ted, co-founder of Turbos. And the question is the same: what are Turbos currently building for Sui, and what's the next step of Turbos in quarter 2 and maybe quarter 3? Yeah.
Yeah, Turbos on Sui mainnet day 1 will offer a concentrated liquidity model for spot trading, which features high capital efficiency to allow users to trade, major cryptos on Sui network. We are working with a few wallet and bridge partners to make sure our users have really smooth onboarding process on day 1, right? If you think about a new chain where tooling is limited, when users first come, there are a lot of things to worry about before they even do anything. First, they need a new wallet, new blockchain. You need to remember some seed phrase. And then after going through that hassle, you realize, all right, where's my gas Sui token? Where's my fund? And then you would want to bridge, and probably you need to bridge 2 or 3 times, or even bring some native token like Sui from centralized exchanges. So there are lots of steps you actually need to do before doing anything, a new network. But luckily, we have a few partners we work closely even before the mainnet. That come up with solutions and strategies to reduce those steps and make the whole process less hassle. And that's what we want to offer users, a peace of mind. And you can simply come here and quickly start trading. That's our plan on day 1. And so what we think about Position Turbos is really at part of the DeFi, right? So in fact, the panelists here are our friends that we have been talking for months, and the way we can work together. Smart money, institutional money, they need, or even DeFi degen, they need the right infrastructure, right tooling to perform their strategies on Sui. So when these things are ready, they're more willing to come and bring liquidity into this new system. So in addition to that, like in traditional finance, derivative is a big market, right? So you ask about Q2 and Q3 longer term plan. So we do have plan to bring perpetual trading on Sui, and that would attract the derivative market. And that's our plan. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. The next one, we have Tommy from Typus. And what's our Typus token legal for Sui, and what are the next steps in quarter 2 and maybe quarter 3?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, Typus position ourselves as a risk trading marketplace for all other DeFi protocols, including AMMLPs, including lending protocols, including other derivatives. So we're trying to provide this infrastructure to help LPs or on-chain liquidity to be scalable on-chain. And we will be launching day 1 with Sui mainnet. So that's May 3rd. So if anyone interested to get in on some leverage day 1 on Sui mainnet, Typus their go-to place. And for Q2, we are also considering to build some automatic strategy on top of CLMO, such as Typus, such as Turbos. And also we are doing some structured product for lending protocol to collaborate with. And that's for Q2. And also we are thinking about to provide a Delta One component within Typus. So that Typus right now is having this volatility product, and we want Delta One So combining Delta One and volatility product, we can run some more complex Delta neutral strategy, which gives better risk over return to LPs. And that's ideally happening in Q2, early Q3.
Thanks, Tommy. And next one, we have Elliscope from Navi Protocol. What's our Navi Protocol currently building or suite? And what's are the next steps in Q2 or maybe Q3?
Yeah, thanks. So Navi Protocol, what we're currently building is first version of Navi Protocol. We call it Navi Lite. The way that Navi Lite really edits every daily activity, every daily trade, and it will provide full suite of lending and borrowing mechanism to provide the most secure way for users to put leverage on their collateral. And down the road for Q3 and Q4, Navi has been really spending a lot of time researching and partnering with great parties like Typus Finance as well as Typus Finance use the Navi Pro version. The way the Navi Pro is targeting institution traders as well as potentially DeFi expert that really wants to add the granularity on their risk parameters, as well as have a very high appetite towards the risk control. So that is our projection. Besides this, our long-term goal, like mentioned earlier, is really to serve billions of users. And that, to some extent, I personally believe that will involve the regulation of it. So we will also be potentially engaging the KYC and the compliance-related factors within our Navi Pro version, just to really make it, comply with the continuously strengthening regulation among the current market. So yeah, has been something we're looking to do in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Elliscope from Navi Protocol. And next one, we have David from MoveEx to answer the question is, what are MoveEx currently building for suite and what are the next steps in Q2 and upcoming Q3?
Yeah, so I guess we're really focused on two different products. The first, of course, is the MoveEx exchange, where like Turbos, we're offering a concentrated liquidity market maker, as well as a stablecoin AMM to help with both retail and developers. And so we're going to be ready to launch shortly after mainnet, and Q2, well, we're in Q2, Q3 and Q4 will just be to continue to expand the services for our customer base. And, I think we all have the same goal, which is to make transacting as easy and as comfortable for all of the people we want to bring into the system as possible. So adding those features and that functionality into the exchange so everybody can have that smooth transaction and that smooth experience so they keep coming back. That's going to be one of our main priorities with the exchange. What we've really been focusing on for the last couple of months really is the central limit order book that you mentioned earlier, deep book. And so this was something that we've had the pleasure of working directly with Sui Foundation. And, one of the benefits of working in the Move ecosystem is that we were able to create this central limit order book. Compared to typical AMMs and even concentrated liquidity, a central limit order book is going to be much more capital efficient. And it's usually the default market making mechanism that has been adopted by most centralized exchanges due to that capital efficiency. But with smaller chains, the cost of gas using a central limit order book is typically inhibitory to making it as efficient as it could be. But with the low gas costs that we have in Sui, it made it very possible to build a fully on-chain central limit order book that is both gas efficient and capital efficient. So, what we have committed to is having that product available for any developer who wants to integrate into Deepbook on launch day. So if anybody listening or anybody on the panel wants to talk to us about that, we'd be more than happy to have that conversation. And moving forward with that product into Q3 and Q4 is just continuing to support that for the greater good of the ecosystem and ensuring that people who want to take advantage of that order book can easily. So, yep, so that's what we're up to.
Thanks for David for sharing, and yeah, looking forward to see upcoming process. So next one, it will be our last question for this DeFi panel. And then just the question will be, can you share your thoughts on the current state of Move DeFi ecosystem and where you see it's heading in like next 1 or 2 years? Yeah. And you can answer this question maybe based on like a market side or development side or like other angle. Just feel free to share your opinion, and especially this event is MoveCon, and then just we can focus on Move. Yeah, and I will be the first one to answer this question as well. My opinion about the current Move ecosystem is previously I think we already been a non-EVN, I mean not messy, I mean like researcher or builders for a while. And then I think it's, I mean, lucky because I think to start it from ROS and then like step by step to the framework Move, and then just meet a new like a higher security framework, and then can just you don't need to have like many hundred of lines, but you can enjoy the low level language or high security based on ROS. And then the framework have many packages you can use. You don't have many lines of codes to have a high security, higher composability smart contract in this ecosystem. I think we are still super early, and then I think just the audience here and all the projects here, I think they have a huge potential in the upcoming 1 to 2 years. Especially right nowadays, people, I think to be fair, Solidity ecosystem is very huge, and it's also pretty good. But I think we are a new track, new direction to find a new solution based on the low-level language, and then based on a new algorithm. And then I would like to also pass this question to Ted, co-founder of Turbos. Can you share your thoughts of the current state of Move DeFi ecosystem, and just where you see the heading in the next 1 to 2 years?
Yeah, Move is a different language. As I said, there's a digital assets ownership notion, object-based language. So the fundamental language really makes you think and program differently. So I'm very excited about how the Move DeFi ecosystem would look like. I believe new possibilities are there. It's in our hand. We're creating this new DeFi world together. As you mentioned, we're still super early, but even though we're 1 week before mainnet, but we sort of already have, I wouldn't say 100% ready or super mature, but we have the basics DeFi like CRMM, clock, or central limit order book. We have borrowing lending. We have LP management. We have put call option strategies to hedge LP risk. All these things, it took years to build other chains, but look where we are now. And I'm more excited about the future.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Ted. And next one, we have Kami. Can you share your thoughts on current state of Move DeFi ecosystem and where you see it heading next 1 or 2 years? Yeah.
Sure. So Sweet DeFi is still emerging. But like DeFi is not something new comparing to 2020. So I think Sweet has currently having all the critical DeFi application ready to launch on mainnet. But we still need to wait for stable coins. We need to wait for more users on Sweet to actually start running. In 1 or 2 years, I think so Sweet's focus is more on onboarding more Web2 users into the ecosystem. And I think that's something DeFi product really loves. And so I think for DeFi and Sweet itself, it's quite promising, and Move itself can onboard a lot of developers on its own. It has super good developer experience. So in general, I think it will be good. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tommy. Very makes sense. And next one, we have Elliscope from Navi Protocol. Can you share your thoughts on the current state of Move DeFi ecosystem and where you see it heading in the next 1 or 2 years? You can answer it in market side or development side or other angles.
Yeah, definitely. So based on my current understanding and observation, all I can say is still very early. And every builders, every founders, every VCs in the space will be watching this podcast and watching this video right now. I would love to see more builders, join the space to build the foundation. And super early. And the whole day I'm at consensus, I've been preaching people about the Move ecosystem. It's like the EVM it is back in, I would say, 2017, even 2016. And in 1 to 2 years, as a DeFi builder, so there are 2 things that I think really important. And really important stands out. Number one is security. And I believe with the growth of TVL and amazing founders like everybody here, we will be able to build a foundation and infrastructure for the Move ecosystem. Very reliable. The second is the mass adoption. And I do believe in 1 to 2 years with the TVL growing to billions of dollars on the Sui ecosystem, eventually, and more Web2 users will have access to the wallet, to the crypto. We might not even realize the underlying hand that is able to sustain the throughput, the transaction in the Sui ecosystem, but they're using us. So that is how I envision this ecosystem to be grown. Thanks. Thanks, Kris.
Yeah, so let's go. And the last one, we have David from MoveEx to answer. Can you share your thought on the current state of Move DeFi ecosystem and what will you see in heading in next 1 to 2 years? And you can answer it in development or market angle.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take a little different tack from everybody. I mean, everybody's made great points. I think from a language perspective, you know, having the object-based assets, having composable assets, having those things already available to us that a lot of other chains don't, I think that's going to allow, you know, like we've talked about, additional developers, tons of developers to come in and do very unique and special things. But one thing that I've noticed, so, you know, I spend a lot of my days in spaces. I spend a lot of my days talking to other projects. I've worked in a few different chains in Polkadot and Ethereum and Algorand. And there's something about Sui that's really unique, and that's the sense of community. And a lot of people really don't value that sense of community. We're all working, we've got our heads down in essentially code and projects all day, but that sense of community that a lot of the smaller projects are embracing is what's going to translate into our customer base. And that's what's going to bring Web2 users in. And that's so unique for this space compared to the other places that I've worked at, that I really think we're in a great spot now. And I think it can only get better as projects like Navi and Turbos and Typus expand their projects and bring in more people, and those people experience the ecosystem. Because this is the first time I can say that I belong to an ecosystem, not a project on a chain. And I think that's tremendously important for that mass adoption that we're all going for. So I really think that it's something that we as co-founders and members of projects, we need to continue to embrace. And everybody on this panel has worked with everybody else in some capacity and continuing that, because there's definitely room for everybody, and we're going to need more people. And that's how we're going to bring more people in, is with the language, how easy it is, all of the different features that we have, and how welcoming all the projects are. And so I think we're in a great spot, and I'm really excited for the next 2 years.
Yeah, thanks David for the last answer, and it's also very exciting. I think just everybody here, if you haven't just deep diving into Move, at least you need to spend some time to read the documentation, or maybe just feel like join the Move DAO to study more about Move. Yeah. And I think just we can end this panel. It's super happy, and it's an honor for MoveCon to having us here. And thanks everybody, and thanks Ted and David and Tommy and Esco and
Thank you, Kris.
Thanks,
Kris.
for
Thank you.
Panel. Yeah.